Save the Semantics, episode 112. It is May 11th, 2020. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on about myself. It has been about maybe a little less than a week. I think it's been just about a week since I last recorded. Here we are again. It is day whatever the fuck of quarantine, and I am lucky to still be here. It's been, samey. This last week has been interesting, to say the least. I didn't do so well on my astronomy midterm, so that kind of bummed me out for a little bit, but, I bounced back. Realized that I've kind of been slacking this quarter, knowing that it's my last quarter. I've kind of just sort of, and just everything else, all the other, circumstances that sort of add to it. I've just been kind of lazy, and I haven't really put in my best effort, per se, on other material, So, I'm going to try to finish strong. I think, I of course I wanted a lot out of this last quarter, but I think that even just like trying on like these sort of GE classes that don't necessarily even really matter can kind of help that, can kind of help me kind of get through shit, kind of take my mind off of other things, so I do want to try to finish strong, I don't want to, I especially need to pass all my classes in order to graduate, so I gotta do that. I gotta finish through. But, shitty midterm, but I think I can really focus on that final and bump my grade back up to where I want it to be so I can pass. And that's that. Outside of school, it's been pretty lax, as it has been for the last couple of months. Nothing too crazy. Been trying my best to catch up on certain things, but again, it's hard for me to stay motivated, I guess. I've been kind of messing around with my keyboard a little bit, which has been kind of nice, I mean, I just it's interesting. I'm taking this pop music class. I've mentioned that before. And you kind of learn a little bit. I mean, of course, you're meant to learn some stuff, but I've been kind of learning a little bit about the forms of songs. Of course, it's it's not necessarily anything crazy. It's something that's probably relatively well known, but just sort of seeing how songs are structured with chords and whatnot sort of kind of takes me aback a little bit, because I'm not even really learning in that sort of way. I'm learning specific songs and how to play them, in a relatively easy format. Just because I just don't I don't know if I have the patience to really teach myself piano through a conventional style or classical style, classically trained. I just don't have the patience for that. I just would be incredibly it would definitely be frustrating for sure, just because I feel like I wouldn't really have the, for one, I wouldn't have the patience to stick through with it, and I just would really just want to focus on playing what I want to play, so that's what I've been kind of doing, but sort of relating it back to what I'm learning in class, it's kind of you see all these forms and the melodies and the way songs are structured and that sort of thing, and it really is wow, okay. There's a long way to go for me to actually kind of wrap my head around all this, there's just so many aspects of music that I still have not fully, not only experienced, but fully understood. I haven't even really learned about all the matters relating to to music. So I don't know. Maybe it's something that I want to delve into when I have the time, like right now. I think right now is probably the best time to try to, you know, put something under my belt, have like a somewhat of an understanding of it. Learn something new and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been just kind of messing around with that, but not necessarily like, doing too much with it. But it's been cool. It's a nice little distraction from other things. In terms of like movies or shows, it's really, I feel like there hasn't really been necessarily been anything, at least recently, that's really caught my attention. I've been just I finished the first season of Dark. I think I mentioned that. And I don't know if I really want to delve into the second season yet. Like, I do like where the story has progressed. I like the characters, I think I've mentioned what I liked about the show, but just to kind of reiterate, like, I like the characters. I like sort of the ways in which everyone is connected and how it's sort of in this, like, deeper evolving plot. Like, I think that's a very cool thing. I like stories that involve time travel, even if, of course there's going to be there's going to be plot holes, there's going to be some inconsistencies with a story that involves time travel, but that's just kind of to be expected. And I think I feel like I can kind of look past those issues just because I feel like, you don't really, at least from my perspective, like, I don't really care all that much about the technicality of the time travel and whatnot. Like, I kind of like just sort of the mystery of it, like how things kind of develop over time and how sort of time is essentially, time is the catalyst for the story and that sort of thing. But it's not necessarily something where I'm like, oh, I'm going to, pinpoint every issue that the story has. It's like, no, I don't really, it's fine if there's some things that don't necessarily add up, It's just going to happen. Like, it's never going to be perfect. But I've kind of hesitated delving into the second season just because, I don't know, like, maybe I just want to change a pace. I do really like the show, but I think I think its tone, and sort of like the atmosphere that it portrays is very, it's obviously kind of sort of dark and ominous, and like, I don't know, maybe I just want something a little more lighthearted. I really don't know. I don't really know what I'm looking for at this moment. Sometimes I'm just kind of stumped. I mean, it always seems like I'm stumped, but recently I really haven't watched anything like significantly. Like, I haven't like sat down and like absorbed anything. I don't know. I'm trying to think what I've been really doing. Just kind of taking my time, like, I haven't really, I haven't done it. Obviously, I haven't really done anything crazy or new or anything like that. But even with, like, just watching content, I really haven't watched a whole lot. I've been watching like streaming a little bit, like Twitch streaming. That's been pretty fun. It's like streaming is like kind of like an interesting. I mean, it's been kind of the thing for a little while now, but I still feel like it's a pretty new medium of delivering content, to people. But it's interesting to see because it's very much like, the gamer or whatever, the streamer, they're, the way they show themselves is very like raw and like very, I don't know about genuine. I mean, I think a lot of the people, at least the ones I watch, they feel very genuine in who they are and stuff, because there's no like editing or anything like that. Of course they, sometimes gamers put on like a persona and whatnot, but I feel like for the most part, it's like, who they are. It's how they present themselves to be. And, I kind of like that. I kind of like sort of seeing that kind of thing. I like seeing, people sort of in their element, working, working with what they have, whatever characteristics they bring to the table, whatever, level of charisma or whatnot. So I think that's kind of interesting, sort of seeing that, like in sort of a traditional YouTube or like vlog video. Like, I think there's ways that you can work it to sort of, you can kind of manipulate the footage to make yourself look more like presentable in a case. But with like streaming, it's a little different because like you're kind of sitting, you're sitting in front of a camera for like hours on end, and there's really nothing that's there to like, distract you from anything. So it's kind of interesting to kind of look at that. I've been watching that a lot. There's been like some like F1 racing, which has been pretty interesting, watching it. I've never been like a big fan of like racing or anything like that, but I've just kind of like stumbled across it, and it's pretty intense. Like, I think I'm not necessarily like a big fan of like NASCAR racing or anything like that, but like F1 racing, there's a lot of things going on with that. There's a lot of different aspects to take into account. Like a lot of the drivers, like they actually use like the simulation or the game to like train and that sort of thing. And I think that, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to see how that kind of develops over time. And in order to be like good, you got to train. It's like every other sport, Hey, how's it going? You really got to like put in the effort to try and, become better at what you want to do, So, you really got to put in the time to get good and that sort of thing. And when it comes to racing, but I think it's kind of interesting looking at that for sure. Give me 1 second. So I started recording the episode on May 11th. It is now May 16. I kind of got distracted, kind of. Rather, it started to rain kind of in the middle of me recording also. There was a woman walking her dog, and she kind of got in the way, unfortunately, so I was kind of just like, I need a peace of mind. I need my space to kind of do this shit, just to kind of do it in isolation in a sense. So I haven't had the chance to finish this off, so I thought might as well. So this is the second. Obviously, you can tell there's going to be a split off of when I last recorded, but it's been about 5 days. Not much has really changed, to be honest. Obviously not. I think that's kind of the case for everyone. I'm trying to make the most out of it. Went and got myself some boba that I haven't had in a really long time. I was happy to see that it was still open. So I got some of that, and now I'm just kind of chilling. I'm just kind of here in my car. It's a nice warm day out. People are out and about. Hopefully, they're keeping safe and not being complete idiots, But you know how that goes. Anyways, I've been listening to quite a bit of music, actually. Like, last night I listened to, like, a ton of shit. I've been listening to a lot of Opeth, which I've been a little fan of them for a little bit. Like, I haven't really delved into their music a whole lot, but I listened to, like 4 or 5 albums in the last couple of days, just to keep having it on the background. And I really like sort of that melodic type of metal. Like, I feel like that's kind of sort of my style a little bit, I mean, I in high school, and I guess like in college too, I listened to some like Celtic and like folk metal and that sort of thing, you know. So it's sort of in a similar vein. Obviously, I guess a little more like there's more string accompaniment or like you got like the flute and like the violin and stuff playing in the background. But I don't know. I've just kind of been I've been kind of digging this look. YouTube recommendations has been doing pretty good lately. Um, I've just found some pretty decent artists. And like I said, I've been listening to Opeth and their albums, but I've also been listening to some other artists, and it's been fun. It's been cool. I haven't really delved into a whole lot of new music lately, so that's been kind of refreshing. There hasn't really been any. I've been talking to like friends about it. There hasn't really been anything in the hip hop scene that's really come into mind. So I'm really hoping that someone drops something, because I'm really fiending for something, but I can do with what I have, and so far it's been cool. I think I generally have like a pretty open mind about music. I'm not like the biggest fan of like EDM and that kind of thing. It's a bit too it's a bit much for me, but I can get why people get into it. I can kind of understand people that go to like raves and that sort of thing. Like, I understand sort of the reason. Like, I get it. It's just not my scene. That's all I'm saying. You could literally say that about anything. But yeah, been checking out some stuff, listening to some cool stuff out there. I guess that's like one thing that I kind of miss. Just with like radio and stuff. But I guess the nice thing is that I can sort of do it on my own time, where I can discover these new artists and that sort of thing. So that's been good. It's been cool doing that. In terms of shows and movies, again, not really a whole lot in the span of this last week or so. It's just nothing's really popped up, and I just haven't really wanted to commit to anything. I've been thinking about like watching Mad Men, and I've mentioned that before, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I think just looking at the season count is kind of daunting. You're like, fuck, all that, man. Is it really worth it? Every episode being 45 minutes each. It's a lot. It's a lot, and you can kind of eat away at you. And I kind of like taking things where it's like, okay, I can just kind of enjoy this for the time being without having to invest my whole being into it. So in terms of that, I've been watching this one isekai anime called Rising of the Shield Hero. It came out last year. It had a little buzz going for it. And it's pretty good. I think, and I might have mentioned this before, but I've really spoiled myself with good anime for like the last like 4 or 5 months. Like, I've really just kind of watched basically like the best of the best from like the past decade or so. So, with those kind of shows in mind, it sort of sets this expectation for all of the other anime that comes after that I'm gonna watch. So I mean, it's solid. It's like, it's like a fun fantasy. It's maybe it's not like fun. Like, I think the element that was most interesting about it was sort of that first episode where you're like, oh shit, okay, this is kind of an interesting twist to it, I guess, a little bit. Like, it's sort of, again, I haven't really watched it like a whole lot of isekai. Like, I've seen like the big ones. I've seen ReZero, of course. I've seen Konosuba, which is, a gag anime. And then, there's this one, which is, solid, I think. Just kind of like, I don't want to say middle of the road because I think it does bring up some interesting aspects to it that some of the other anime don't necessarily. Like it's, has some of that darker tone, but I feel like I don't know. Like I think it's kind of interesting. Like I'm still trying to like figure out like the what the angle of it is. Like because like once like that first episode goes by, you're like, okay, well then. Like you understand like the motivation, you understand like why the main character is the way he is, and that sort of thing. Um, and like it's you kind of learn a little bit about the world and that sort of thing, and sort of the corruption that goes on. And yeah, I'm nearing like the end of like I guess the first season, you could say. I think it's like 25 episodes more or less. I'm nearing the end. But I think I really hope there's like something else that kind of grabs my attention. Like there's some plot points in it where it's like, okay, this could be kind of intriguing and that sort of thing, but there's not really something that really has like hooked me, Like I think the the little plot line, this might be a little spoilery if you're interested in watching the show, but there's a plot point where there's like some deception and there's some corruption going on, and that's like the part that I find like most interesting. Like I don't really care about like this overwhelming evil presence that the heroes eventually have to take down. And I think that might be something that the story is going for. Like there's not really that purely evil character or whatever. I think I mean, of course, like a lot of shows are going to draw back on that, where it's like, oh, this is the ultimate evil character that you have to eventually take down, and that's sort of like takes away from my enjoyment of it. You're like, well, okay, you know, he's gonna win if that's the case. Like he's gonna survive and he's gonna win. Like that's not what hooks you. Like I kind of want to understand what makes this show a little different. I think so. Hopefully, I don't know. It brings up some more interesting, aspects to it. Maybe it goes for a bit more of a darker tone. Like it does have some of its darker moments, for sure. But I don't know. I think I'm still kind of comparing it to other shows, which is not exactly the best. But it is what it is. It's solid for sure. I just think it has some tropes that I'm not like the biggest fan of. Some of the character motivations are kind of hazy and gray, and they don't really make a whole lot of sense. But it is what it is. Outside of that, not a whole lot. Just not a whole lot in terms of other shows that I've been wanting to watch. No, like I said, I want to watch them, but it's just kind of different because I don't want to commit again to a big ass show and invest my time and energy and all that. Yeah. So that's kind of it, to be honest. Just kind of been chilling. Weather's nice. I've been wanting to kind of exercise more consistently, but unfortunately the people have the same idea, especially on the weekends. Like today's Saturday, so everywhere is packed and there's nowhere really to go and run. So I'm just kind of stuck, Of course I could do my own exercises, but I don't got the motivation to do that. So I'm just kind of abiding my time, you could say. I got a few more weeks remaining for classes, and then that's that. And then that's that. So they confirmed that, and I don't know if I forgot to mention this, but my school confirmed that they will be having the commencement as like a virtual ceremony. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be kind of weird, for sure, but I think that's just like it's the best that they can really do with this situation. I've seen like other schools do it already. Like I've seen like online of other people of other other commencement ceremonies. Um, so it'll be interesting to see for sure. I think again it's like I'm I'm disappointed that it's not going to be held in person, and that might change in the future if things get better. We don't know yet, but fingers crossed. But you make with what you have, so I'm not complaining that they're making an effort to at least try to make something out of it. I don't know what the, and I should probably look into it more, but I really don't know what the process is going to be like. I get that they're going to have like my name and stuff and like my picture or whatever. I got to figure out what I'm going to wear. I've been so lazy with my apparel lately, or just with my look. I just don't. I don't have the motivation to really do that, but it's fine. I'm not like going out all the time. There's nowhere to go out to. It's just like go out to the park, I guess. But I don't want to see people. At least not like, in close proximity or anything like that. I'm gonna throw in a song recommendation. This is not the same as like the metal, the metal music I was talking about. I guess I'll throw in Opeth. I mean, they're a pretty well-known band. But this other artist named Jenevieve, I think that's how you pronounce her name, but her song Baby Powder just showed up in my recommendations. And then she also has this other song called Medallion, and I think those are really the only songs that she has released right now. I might be wrong, but I really couldn't find anything else from her, and I thought they were fantastic. So those are my recommendations. If you care to take a listen, if you feel like chilling or vibing, those are some nice songs to put on in the background. And yeah, open up your mind and seek out some new music. And then you may like what you find. That's all I got. Anyways, it's gonna do it for this weird, broken mess of a podcast episode. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.